Cessation is Bodhi. Stop the mad rush to find your head. Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to today's Sublime Dharma Sharing. Part E, Purna's singing question. Today's content comes from a brilliantly remarkable section of the Ragama Astra. Volume CA Astra revered as the Ragama of Enlightenment. Every single person here, whether you study Buddhism or not, has likely asked a similar question. The story begins with the Venerable Purna, one of the Buddha's great disciples who was renowned as foremost in preaching the Dharma. He posed a very stinging question to the Buddha. World-honored one, if my precious, enlightened, complete, and bright true mind, the Tathagata Garbha Tathagata womb, is originally wrongly complete and without distinction, just like yours, then why am I the one who had been spinning in delusional thoughts and suffering in Sasrata cycle of rebirth since time without beginning? Even though I have now become an arhat and have listened to so many teachings, I still feel I haven't reached the bottom. It is still not ultimate. Where, in the end, did all these delusional thoughts pop out from? Listen to this. Isn't this question also the voice of your own heart? If we are originally Buddhas, originally complete, then why is our life right now so exhausting? Why must we stumble and grovel in this world filled with anxiety, greed, and fear? The Master teaches that, in reality, every one of us, every single minute and second, is living within delusion. Even as you sit here upright listening to the Astra teachings, you are actually learning from within delusion. This is because we are accustomed to using past memories to categorize the present. Think about it. Can you conceive of something you have never experienced? You cannot. We simply patch past experiences together, like slapping on stickers haphazardly. After sticking them all on, not only have we failed to see the truth, but we make ourselves even greedier and more afraid. Part R, Yajnadatta, the madman searching for his head. Facing Purna's confusion, the Buddha did not immediately launch into profound theories. Instead, he recounted a piece of social news from the city of Arvas. The Buddha said, Purna, although some of your doubt had been removed, the subtle confusion still remains. I will tell you the story of Yajnadatta. One morning, this Yajnadatta got up, looked into the mirror, and suddenly thought, wow, the head in the mirror, the eyebrows and eyes are so clear, so lovely. But then he had a second thought, the mirror has a head. But why can't I see my own head on my shoulders? Listen, everyone. What do you call this? This is a classic case of delusional syndrome. Because Yajnadatta could not see his own face, he thought he had no head. He believed he had become a headless ghost or demon and ran frantically through the streets in terror. The Buddha asked Purna, why do you think this person was running frantically for no reason? Purna replied directly, this person had gone mad, there is no other reason. At that moment, the Buddha uttered a ground-shaking statement. When wondrous enlightenment is bright and complete, it is originally complete, bright, and wondrous. Since it is called delusional, how could it have a cause? If it had a cause, how could it be called delusional? This is saying that our spirit, our true nature, is originally pure and clear, pervading all places. Since we call it delusional false, how can a false thing have a real cause? If it had a cause, it would be real, and it wouldn't be called delusional. It is just like Yajnadatta's head, it was never lost. What was the cause of his frantic running? It was because he thought he had no head. But this thought itself was false. When you are being chased by a tiger in a dream, what is the cause of the tiger? When you wake from the dream, you realize the tiger never existed at all. Where could the cause come from? Part 3, accumulating confusion from confusion. Why can't we return? Since delusion originally has no cause, why does Sasra feel so real? Why can't we stop? The Buddha explained. From various delusional thoughts arises mutual causation, accumulating confusion from confusion. One passes through thus like countless eons. Although delusional thoughts have no real foundation, they cause mutual causation, one delusion after another. You have a nightmare in a dream, which breeds fear, and the fear manifests a monster. Like that, one after another. In cooperation with our greed, anger, ignorance, and arrogance, a powerful momentum is formed. This is called refusing to leave the dream. We are always willing to study the shadow in the mirror, dwelling on whether the shadow looks good or not. But we are never willing to turn around and look what is the mirror substance itself that can project the shadow, even though the Buddha has already exposed this truth. Why can't we return? It is because we are too familiar with confusion and a stranger to enlightenment. Just like an old driver who had been driving at high speed for countless kalpas. The momentum is too great to slam on the brakes. But the Buddha tells us a core logic recognizes that confusion itself has no cause. And delusion has nothing to rely upon. If you truly recognize that confusion itself has no basis, that these delusional scenes are simply phenomena that are actively evolving, they cannot be relied upon at all. When you no longer rely on them, no longer at any speculation or distinction, the delusional thoughts have no focal point abode to depend on. The master pointedly exposed the truth: delusional thoughts were never generated at all, since they were never born. Why must you struggle to extinguish them? You only need to stop. Part 2. After waking from the dream, what can you take with you? To make Purna understand completely, the Buddha made another analogy. One who has attained Bodhi is like a person who has awakened from sleep speaking of dream events. An enlightened person is like a person who has woken up talking in their sleep. Think about it: no matter how sharp your mind is, can you take the gold, silver, and treasures from the dream with you after you wake up? Impossible. This is because everything in the dream has no substance. Just like Yajnadatta, when he was running frantically, was his head lost? No. When he suddenly became clear and stopped running, was that head recovered from the outside? Also no. Cessation is Bodhi. This is the eye of this entire section of the Estra. The reason you are in pain is that you are always chasing the world, chasing karmic results, chasing sentient beings. As long as you do not follow the world, karmic results, and sentient beings to make distinctions, you will not have these three kinds of continuities: identification and creation. By not making distinctions, these three conditions are cut off. Without following them to create, these three causes will not arise. Then the delusional syndrome in your heart, just like Yajnadatta's, will naturally cease. Here is a secret: the most wondrous spirit is originally complete within the Dharma realm, pervading the Dharma realm. It is not obtained from others, nor is it something you realize, nor is it something you cultivate. It is originally thus. Does it still need laborious cultivation and realization? It does not. It only requires your frantic nature to cease. Cessation is Bodhi. Remember, the true nature of perfect enlightenment is not something that exists only after cultivation. Cultivating cessation, letting go, or extinguishing, those are all illnesses. They are not the Dharma. Many people say cultivate. I must cultivate to bring forth Bodhi. Even speaking of cultivating the Bodhi mind, if they speak of cultivating the Bodhi mind, that Bodhi mind is fundamentally not the Bodhi mind. If you insist that you can cultivate a Bodhi mind, then it will definitely have a day when it goes bad. Part 2. The pearl in the clothing. You are originally a wish-fulfilling rich man. Finally, the Buddha told a very moving parable. The famous pearl in the clothing. A person had a wish-fulfilling pearl sewn into the lining of his clothing. This wish-fulfilling pearl was a treasure. It could transform into whatever you desired, ensuring you would never be poor again. But after time passed, he forgot there was a treasure in his clothing. So he ran to foreign lands to work, wandering everywhere, even reducing himself to a beggar, rushing around just to beg for a morsel of food, although he appeared destitute and miserable. Until one day, a wise person pointed to his clothing and said, "Oh, you foolish child! You have a wish-fulfilling pearl sewn into your clothing. Why are you suffering all this hardship?" When this person reached in and felt, it really was there. From then on, he had whatever he desired, becoming the richest man in the world. Only then did he understand this wondrous pearl was never obtained from the outside. Conclusion: stop your frantic running. Listeners, the story has finished. Every one of us is that Yajnadatta, who, because he stared at the illusions in the mirror, forgot his own originally possessed head. Your current fear, greed, and anxiety are all Yajnadatta's frantic running for no reason. As long as you no longer make distinctions outward, no longer dance with the shadows, as long as you are willing to stop, a cessation is Bodhi. Thank you everyone for listening to the sharing of the Ragama Sublime Dharma from the Buddha Karita Association of Australia. May we all stop the frantic running in our hearts and not forget the wish-fulfilling pearl that has never been lost. We will see you in the next session.